Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome back to our mentoring recovery support group. My name is Craig, and I'm here to share with you some vital information on mentoring, the aspects of mentoring, and some of the components of how one can realign himself back into a stable behavioral pattern. And so, what that entails is this article that I'm going to share, which is brought to us by realrecoveryfl.com. You can go online to real, REAL, recoveryfl.com, and you can grab this material. And without further ado, I'd like to share today's title, that is replacing negative habits. Right? We're going to be talking about replacing negative habits. This is our mentoring recovery support group. And this article has an introduction that says, whether they're good or bad, everyone has habits. Habits help to shape your life and can either push you towards success or pull you back from it. Negative habits can quickly become problematic when they feed addictive tendencies, right? And so it says addiction is a chronic disorder that is characterized by compulsive substance seeking despite the consequences involved. And so we're talking about different aspects of recovery. One of the things that we focus here at Capital Recovery Center is that we focus on a lot of alcohol and substance abuse, with drugs. So it's all geared around substance use disorders, better known as SUDS, SUD. All right? And so the article continues to let us know the onset of addiction often occurs from the creation of a negative habit. A primary reason you may struggle to break away from the cycle of addiction is engaging in negative habits that feed your dependency on a substance. It is essential to identify these habits and recognize how they may be impacting your state of addiction and replace them with positive habits, right? So getting rid of old behaviors, replacing them with new behaviors, right? That center around habits. So you may ask, what is a habit? All right. So this article says habits are repetitive behaviors or routines you engage in without conscious thought or effort. Read that again, because this is one of the definitions that this article entails. Habits are repetitive behaviors or routines you engage in without conscious thought or effort. They can have positive or negative consequences and have a significant influence on physical and mental health, productivity levels, and quality of life. Habits develop through repetition and reinforcement. Once you repeat a behavior repeatedly, the brain creates neural pathways, making it easier to repeat that same action in the future. Over time, these neural pathways become stronger, making breaking the habit more challenging. All right. So this article lets us know that these are repetitive or routine habits that one engages in consciously or without effort. All right. So sometimes we can be doing things that we are unaware of because of by a continued repetitive nature, we just respond or we may behave according to learned behaviors. All right. And so those are habits. Let's go to another topic of discussion, and that is negative habits that feed addiction, right? Negative habits that feed addiction. The habits that feed addiction are patterns or behaviors that provide temporary relief but ultimately cause harm. Various habits tend to feed an addiction. Understanding what these habits are can help you recognize the ones you tend to engage in. Once you're aware, you may implement alternative habits to counteract them. All right. So once we begin to be conscious of unconscious behaviors or patterns, now we begin to uh, finding ways how we can counteract the behavior or the habit. All right. One of the negative habits that feed addiction, and that is lack of self care. Addiction can have a devastating effect on both the body and mind. Taking care of yourself by getting enough sleep, eating nutritiously, and exercising regularly are essential in maintaining mental clarity and physical well being. Neglecting to care for yourself may lead to an increased stress level, which can quickly lead to addictive cravings. To combat a negative habit of self neglect, work to prioritize your self care and create healthy habits. Schedule time in your day to exercise, meditate, or engage in other stress relieving activities. Prioritize getting enough sleep by setting a strict bedtime and wake up time each day. Pay attention to your eating habits. Be sure you are feeding your body with the nutrients it needs to function at its best. You may want to consider keeping a self care schedule. Planning out your meals for the week on a paper menu or meal prepping can help ensure you are fueling your body with healthy foods. Having a set schedule, a set assets, excuse me, having a set schedule assists in developing healthy sleep habits. Schedule a specific time each day to sit down and meditate. Try writing down a morning or evening routine with some key self-care habits included. Having it in writing will help you hold yourself accountable. Having it in writing will help you hold yourself accountable, all right? And so journaling, writing stuff down, they are key because a lot of times we have thoughts and then there are more thoughts, and sometimes thoughts can be fleeting thoughts if we're not concentrating on the particular thought that may arrive, right? So writing them down can be very helpful and useful. Negative thinking, what's that all about? Repetitive negative thoughts can cause a cycle of self-doubt and low self-esteem. These thoughts can trigger stress and anxiety, which increases the desire to use substances again. It can be easy to get stuck in the cycle of negative thought patterns, as each thought that arises and is not addressed reinforces the negativity as new neural structures as formed. Right? To combat to combat negative thinking, try to incorporate positive affirmations and daily gratitude into your routine. Let me read that again because it's very important. A lot of times, if we don't place positive reinforcements and gratitude, being appreciative of what we are grateful for, a lot of times we can find ourselves in a rut, in a mindset that does not produce positive results. So this article says, to combat negative thinking, try to incorporate positive affirmations and daily gratitude into your routine. Write down 3 things you are grateful for each day. 3 things, just 3, all right? Then repeat these affirmations to yourself each morning. Try to come up with something different each time rather than using the same few gratitude points repeatedly. All right? And so build upon what you already know, and then you just keep on moving forward from there. Can you also combat negative thought patterns by engaging in cognitive behavior therapy, better known as CBT? CBT works to help you address your thought patterns and become aware of the impact your thoughts have on your daily life. All right? As you notice negative thought arising, attempt to stop them in the moment and rephrase them into positive thoughts. For an example, all right? You may think, I can't do this anymore. I give up. To reframe this trying thinking, I may be having a hard time with this, but with each failure, I am one step closer to success. See how easy that is? How you turn that I can't uh, syndrome around into something that I am working towards doing something in the future. All right? Adjusting your dialogue can help you to create an environment for positive thoughts and action to thrive, right? Self-talk that we may have, all right? With one another, or the self-talk you may have with someone else, all right? Or with yourself, all right? You say adjusting your dialogue, right? Not someone else. Adjusting your dialogue can help you to create an environment for positive thoughts and action to thrive, right? Next, procrastination. All right, procrastinating can increase stress levels drastically. This can become a trigger for relapse. By continuously procrastinating, you are robbing yourself of the motivation and productivity to complete your responsibilities. This makes it even more difficult to break free from the cycle of an addiction. In recovery, there is no time for procrastination. Procrastination is often a sign of a lack of self control. As self control is necessary for managing addiction, it is important to overcome procrastination. To overcome procrastination, you may choose to break larger tasks into more manageable sections, right? Breaking down to a manageable section. Use a planner or a schedule to help yourself stay organized. Remember earlier we talked about prioritizing, right? As your organization improves, your accountability will likely improve as well. Set realistic deadlines and reward yourself when tasks are completed to reinforce your motivation. Ooh, celebrate small victories, right? Reward yourself. Don't go without recognizing all the accomplishment that you have done. I was with a young man earlier today, and we was talking. Me and his loved one was having a one-on-one session, and what he was hearing from us during the dialogue or the discussion throughout the communication, that we were focusing more or less on the negative behavior that he committed. And so he began to remind us that uh, what about all the good things that I have done prior to uh, relapsing? And and when he said it, I said, wow. Now we talk about mentoring, right? So with a mentor and a mentee, there's always a dialogue or a informative discussion that need to be adhered to, regardless of who's giving the information, as long as it is positive and productive. So when he began to say, "What about the good things I've done?" I had to let him know that those good things that he did outweigh the one mistake that he just made. And so I had to commend him. I had to recognize the good stuff because like he said, all right, I know I made a mistake. Let's don't harp on the negative. Let's talk about some of this good stuff that I did. So I want to reassure him that, hey, listen, I'm with you 100% as long as you're doing what's right. All right. And so I had to let him know, all right, we're going to pull over right now for the relapse momentarily. But we are going to acknowledge the good things that you did while you was in the recovery process of receiving treatment. So it's always good not to always try to force our views or opinion or ideas on others without allowing them to speak and be heard. All right. And so let's go on to the next topic of discussion, and that is poor time management. Ineffectively managing your time can also lead to the development of stress and an increased feeling of anxiety. This can result in a lack of productivity and motivation. Ultimately, it can lead to more procrastination as well. If you find that managing your time is difficult for you, you may want to consider applying time management techniques to your everyday life. To manage time, you can use similar steps as those regarding procrastination. When scheduling, prioritize the tasks you need to complete first. This will ensure you complete the most important tasks first and stay on schedule. Set realistic deadlines in order to hold yourself accountable. Eliminate distractions and focus on one task at a time. Time management. We have a joke around in the office, when sometimes when people get overwhelmed or get too busy where they fail to carry out a task. We have a joke and say, well, you may be having too many tabs open, or you may have too much on your plate. Clear some of it off. Eat a little bit at a time, prioritizing, and so things of that nature. Because a lot of times we do get so caught up in the hustle and bustle of doing so much, and sometimes we get distracted. All right, let's move on. All right, this is good reading, good material. I like what I'm hearing. I like the information. And so now we want to talk about common behavioral problems. Not only is it important to address the daily habits you choose to engage in, but you must address the behaviors and characteristics behind them as well. You may try to blame a specific habit for your setback when that habit stems from a behavioral pattern that has not been addressed. Observing some of the common behavioral problems that feed addiction can provide you with further insight into not someone else, into your situation. All right? And that can be avoidance. All right? This particular behavior is especially concerning when regarding a relapse. You may find that you tend to ignore or deny the problems surrounding your addiction. For issues that are not directly related to substance use, you may turn to substance to drown out your emotions rather than deal with the issues head on. Unfortunately, this avoidance behavior often makes the situation worse and can reinforce the addiction you are trying to get rid of. A major way to overcome avoidance is to allow yourself to accept your current state of addiction. While you have likely gone through a majority of the hardships in recovery during treatment, your journey is not over yet. There are always potential setbacks that are important to be aware of. Keep realistic expectations for yourself and accept your current state. This is essential in overcoming avoidance behavior. Impulsivity, all right? Impulsive behavior tends to feed addiction as well, all right? If you find that you often act impulsively, you may be more at risk for engaging in substance use without hesitation. When acting impulsively, it can be difficult to assess the consequences involved with these actions, right? These behaviors often result in seeking immediate gratification rather than putting forth the effort to reach a higher reward. To overcome your impulsive behaviors, take a moment to stop and think before you act, right? Take a moment to stop and think before you act. When making a decision or speaking under the influence of intense emotions, ensure you take a deep breath, right? Do some evaluation and consider the choice you are about to make. Oftentimes, requiring yourself to stop and think about the consequences involved with your choice is enough to deter you from making that decision. All right? You must weigh the pros and the cons of every decision or every thought that we have before we make a decision, because there is consequences behind every action. All right? Perfectionism. Too many people, right? This article says too many people. Professionalism seems like a desirable trait, right? You want to be perfect. You want to be people pleasing, crowd pleasing, all right? However, perfectionism has the potential to harm your confidence. This trait can lead to an unhealthy cycle of self-criticism and self-doubt. You don't live up to people's standards, all right? In recovery, you are setting various goals for yourself. If you are setting goals that are out of reach, your confidence can quickly fizzle out. A lack of confidence and poor self-esteem can lead to substance use as a form of coping. If you set goals in recovery and are never able to quite reach them, then what is the point of continuing to try and maintain sobriety, right? Overcoming a perfectionist mindset can allow you to have realistic expectations for your recovery journey, right? Nobody is perfect, and the process of recovery will be far from perfection. If you are not willing to take risks and try things in recovery, you may not, right? Article says you may not allow yourself to find the therapeutic resources that can most benefit you. All right. Next one, responding to social pressures. Ooh, this is major. This is really major. When I grew up, there wasn't social media. All right, it was just peer peer pressure. You know, it wasn't a nation or international peer pressure to acquire certain things or attain to certain heights. And when I didn't meet that criteria, uh, I looked at myself in a way, or I may have thought and say, that's high, and give up. You know. So let's see what this article says about responding to social pressures. When you are in a social situation, there is a high possibility of being presented with environmental triggers or peer pressure that can feed your addictive tendencies. All right? Humans are social creatures. Yes, we are. All right? We have to get along. We have to be social. We interact. All right? We're unique in our own rights. We like to interact with others to establish a sense of validation and feel that we belong. If you are in a social setting where others are drinking or using substances, you may start to feel obligated to join in, right? Not only is a desire to fit in a risk factor that could cause you to indulge, but impulsivity can also cause you to quickly conform to social norms. Also, if you make connection with these groups, then you are likely to want to go back and continue spending time with them. The individuals you choose to surround yourself with can have a major impact on your success and recovery. Ensure you are being mindful of the effects your social circle has and try to find peers who support your sobriety. Take stock of your interpersonal relationship, all right? Take stock in your interpersonal relationship to ensure they are contributing to your recovery positively, all right? To your recovery positively, all right? Last but not least, leave negative habits and behaviors behind, all right? It's on the screen. Take heed. Leave negative habits and behaviors behind. Negative habits and behaviors play a significant role in feeding an addiction, making it more difficult to break away from this cycle. Self-defeating thoughts, right? Oh, I can't do it. I know maybe those are self-defeating thoughts. Procrastinating, putting things off later, what you can do today, not prioritizing, not scheduling, not planning, procrastinating. Poor time management skills. Uh, um, when poor management skills is when you take on too much that you can't accomplish in a set time. You begin to get distracted, lose focus, right? Avoidance tactic and impulsivity can all lead to continued use of substances, all right? And so these are habits, or these are negative habits and behaviors that we want to leave behind. And they are, as I mentioned, self-defeating thoughts, procrastination, poor time management skills, avoiding tactics, and impulsivity can lead to continued use of substances, all right? By recognizing and replacing your negative habits and behaviors with positive ones, all right, you can set yourself up for success and recovery. Positive, replacing negative with positive, they call that positive reinforcement, right? Get rid of all the old, bring it on the new, all right? Get rid of the past, the old behavior, the old experience, the old perspective, the old lifestyle, right? If you reinforce positive behaviors, there you go, you are allowing yourself to succeed in your sober living journey. Work to prioritize self-care. Try to use positive affirmations. Express your gratitude. These are positive reinforcement, all right? Prioritize your responsibilities. Eliminate distractions and accept your current state of addiction at that time. By applying some of these skills to combat any negative tendencies, you can stop feeding your addiction and slowly watch it wither away, right? And so these are some things that we need to do: leave negative habits and behaviors behind and replace them with positive reinforcements, all right? Until the next time, I hope there was something said or read that you can take for yourself. Remember, always keep the focus on I, self, because we are responsible for what we think, how we think, and what we say, and behaviors that we produce. All right? My name is Craig. Until the next time, take care of yourself, love on someone, and we'll see you next week at the same time, 3 o'clock on Thursday, our mentoring recovery support group. We try to bring you some more informative information. Until then, stay safe.